In this video, I'm going to walk through how you can make an inverted design like this one that I've got in my kitchen. So the top part is one color, then the bottom part is an opposite color. And I'll be using Inkscape, which is a free vector software tool. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is create a circle. So over on the left-hand side, I'm going to click on the circle button, and I'm going to hold down the Control key, and that's going to lock in the aspect ratio unless I really stretch it. But for the most part, I can have a circle here pretty easily. Nice and big circle, just like that. Now you can change the color of the circle. Just make sure it's selected, and then down below, you can change it. And you can hover over the colors. You can see here 90% gray, 80% gray, all the way down to 5% gray. Or there's a fill button right here, and if I click it, I can change it from no fill to black fill to gray fill. Those are the defaults. So if you don't like black and you want to change it, simply use one of the color palettes here, but I'm going to leave this as black for right now. I'm going to duplicate this, Control C and Control V. That's going to paste in a new circle, and I'm going to make this one white. So to change the fill, I'm going to click right here at the bottom where it says fill, and I get a little color wheel that comes up. I'm going to change it now to white, and I'll close out. So I have a white circle and I have a black circle. Now if you want to have an outline, it's pretty easy to do. I'll just simply Control C and Control V again, make another circle and change it to any other color. I'm just going to use red as an example. I'm going to make the circle slightly smaller. I'm going to move it over top of my black circle, and I'm going to highlight both. So I'm simply going to hold down the Shift key, select both, and then I'm going to go in here to Object, Align and Distribute, and I'm going to make sure that they're centered and plumb. Now what I'm going to do is cut out the red, and I'm going to go to Path, Difference. When I do that, I'm going to actually get a ring. So it's your choice if you want to have a circle like this, or if you'd like to have two full circles, one being white and one being black. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is grab the white circle. I'm going to move it in. Don't worry about the size of the page because you can change that very easily. I'm going to make my circle here very large by holding down the Control key and dragging out from the corner. And now I can change the size of my page very easily. The hotkey is Control, Shift, and R. When you do that, it changes the actual page so that it's the same size as whatever shape it is that you were working on in that moment. All right, so next up, I'm going to add in some text. So over on the left-hand side, there's a text button. I'm going to click the text tool. I'll simply click anywhere, right there, for example, and I'll say cooking. Now I'm going to move this over so that it's inside my circle. So I'm going to hold down the Control key and I'm going to make this text smaller. So I'm not super worried about the font size when I first start typing because I can always make it larger or smaller very easily. Now, if you like this same size font and you'd like to continue, a quick workaround is to simply click the font, Control C, Control V. That gets you another piece of font, and then you can go using the font tool, you can click inside of it and you can continue typing. If you don't do that, if you simply click the font tool and start typing, it'll default to whatever the larger font was or smaller font that you had before. So there's a couple font tips and tricks there. I'm going to Control C and Control V this one more time, click the font tool. I'll move that font right like this. Now the last one that I'm going to do, I'm going to change the font. So I'm going to click the font tool. I'm going to type in the word taste. So with this text selected, I'm going to click the font tool. You'll see a font option open here at the top, and I'll scroll through and I'll pick a different font. For example, black chalk, that looks really good. I'll make this capital T. Okay, so I'm happy with the way all this looks. I've modified my fonts here. Now I'm going to select all four texts. I've held down the Shift key. I'm going to go here to Object, Align and Distribute, and I'm going to make sure they're centered. You can also select the circle, hold down the Shift key, select all four text boxes as well, and I can center. Actually, I'm going to move this over just a tiny bit there. Okay, so I'm really happy with the way that looks. Okay, now I'm going to export this. You'll notice the little bit of the circle is outside of the page, so I'm just going to go Control, Shift, R. That's going to default it now so the page is set. You don't have to do that, but I just like making sure that it's all aligned. And now I'm going to export this. So I'm going to click the export button over on the right-hand side, and I'm going to export this as a PNG file. All right, and I'm going to call this Master Black, and I've made sure that this is a PNG file, and now I'll click Save. We can see it quickly exports. You could also change the DPI, which is the dots per inch. You could change that to 300 if you wanted to make this a bit more high quality. and I'm going to click export again. That'll override it, and I'll click replace. Okay, so now we're going to change this and we're going to make it the exact opposite. So I'm going to highlight all 4 of my text boxes, and I'm going to change the text to this white, which is really 2.5% gray. Next, I'm going to select my circle. I'm going to change that to black, just like that. And very quickly, I've inverted my design. Now I'm going to export this. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to click the export button. And in this case, I'm going to call it Master White. I'm referring to the fonts in this case, and I'll click Save. Okay, so I've got 2 exported designs. I'm going to simply close out now of all of this, and we'll open the first one. So I'm going to open my black font image first. Here's my black font image. And now I'm going to open the second image. But what I don't want to do is go File, Open. Because if I do that and I open the second image, it's going to look like I'm importing it. And when I click OK, it actually opens it in a completely separate instance of Inkscape. So that's not what I want, because I want these 2 images to ultimately lay on top of each other. So what I want to do instead is go File, Import. And from there, I'll select the black circle white font. I'll simply click OK just like before. But in this case now, I've got 2 images sitting in the same design. All right, now what I want to do is crop one. So I'm going to pick this one here. It doesn't matter which one, but I'm going to pick this one on the left, and I'm going to crop it. How do I do that? I select a shape tool over on the left, in this case rectangle, and I'm going to make sure that the color is something different than black or white, because those are the 2 colors I'm using. I'll use pink, and I'm going to make a rectangle just like this. It doesn't need to be exact. Now I'm going to select the rectangle and the circle. I'm going to go up to Object, Clip, Set Clip. And now I've basically cut this design in half, and I could move this over into my circular design to have it half and half. I really hope you found that helpful. I love using Inkscape. It's completely free. Here's another video on how you can have some fun using this free vector software tool.